I was in labor. 37 hours of labor. My daughter was fighting her way into this world, and I was fighting with everything I had to bring her here safely. And my husband, the man who stood before God and promised to love me until death do us part. He was 60 miles away, in a luxury hotel suite, with his pregnant mistress, watching my 12 phone calls go straight to voicemail. When I finally pushed my baby girl into this world screaming and crying and covered in blood, I looked around that delivery room and you know what I saw. My mama, my best friend, 2 nurses, and an empty chair where my husband should have been. That empty chair broke something inside me, but it also woke something up. Because here is what Kevin didn't understand when he chose that woman over me. When he chose to abandon me in the most vulnerable moment of my life. He thought he was leaving me with nothing. He thought I would crumble. He thought pregnant destiny exhausted destiny alone. Destiny would just roll over and let him take everything I had built. He was so wrong. That man underestimated me, and I spent the next 6 months making him regret every single decision he ever made. By the time I was done with him, he had lost the house, he had lost the money, he had lost custody, he had lost his reputation, he had even lost that little girlfriend he threw away his family for. And me, I kept everything: my home, my peace, my baby girl, my dignity. He left me alone in labor. I left him with absolutely nothing. Before I tell you exactly how I did it, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now. Do not miss stories like this. And drop a comment below telling me where you are watching from. I want to see how far this message of strength is going to reach. Whether you are in Atlanta, Chicago, Houston, New York, or somewhere overseas, let me know. Because this story is for every woman who has ever been abandoned when she needed someone most. Every woman who has been underestimated. Every woman who has been betrayed by the person who was supposed to protect her. Now let me take you back to the beginning. Back to when I still believed the lies. Back to when I thought I had the perfect life. My name is Destiny Carter. I am 34 years old, and 5 days before my due date, I was living what I thought was my best life. I remember that Thursday afternoon like it was yesterday. I was standing in the nursery of our 4-bedroom house in the suburbs of Atlanta, refolding baby clothes for probably the 10th time that week. Little pink onesies, tiny socks so small they could fit on my thumb. A white crib that I had spent 3 months researching because nothing but the best would do for my daughter. I had painted that room myself. Soft lavender walls with white trim, a rocking chair by the window where I imagined myself feeding her at 3 in the morning, a bookshelf already filled with children's books because I wanted her to love reading the way I do. Everything was perfect. At least that is what I kept telling myself. You have to understand who I was before all of this happened. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My daddy left when I was 5 years old. Just walked out one day and never came back. My mama raised me by herself, working 2 jobs, sometimes 3, just to keep the lights on and food on the table. I watched that woman sacrifice everything for me, her sleep, her health, her dreams. She gave up everything so I could have a chance, and I promised myself that I would never waste that sacrifice. So I worked. Lord, did I work. Straight A student. Full scholarship to college, graduated with honors, got my CPA license, climbed the corporate ladder at a Fortune 500 company for 10 years until I became senior accountant. I bought my first car with cash. I saved enough for a down payment on a house before I was 30. I built my credit to almost perfect. I did everything right. And then I met Kevin Carter. I was 26 years old at a company mixer. He walked up to me with that smile. You know the smile I'm talking about, the kind that makes your knees weak and your common sense disappear. He was tall, handsome, well-dressed, said all the right things, opened doors, pulled out chairs, called me beautiful like he meant it. My mama warned me. She said, "Baby, that man is too smooth. Men who are that charming usually have something to hide." But I did not listen. I was young and in love and convinced I knew better. We got married when I was 28, big church wedding. White dress, all our friends and family watching us promise forever to each other. I cried happy tears that day. I thought I had finally gotten my fairy tale. 6 years of marriage. That is how long we had been together when everything fell apart. 6 years of me believing we were building something real. Let me tell you what those 6 years looked like from my side. I was the one who put $60,000 down on our house. That was my inheritance from my grandmother, God rest her soul. She left me that money with instructions to use it for something that would last. I thought a home for my future family was exactly what she meant. I was the one paying the mortgage every month. $2,400 automatically deducted from my account. I was the one paying the utilities, the car notes, the insurance, the groceries, the everything. Kevin worked, or at least I thought he did. He was supposed to be a marketing director at a consulting firm. Good job, good salary. But somehow, his money was always tied up in something. Business investments, opportunities, things that were definitely going to pay off eventually. Eventually never came. But I kept believing. Because that is what good wives do. Right? We support our husbands. We believe in their dreams. We hold the family together while they figure things out. Looking back now, I can see all the warning signs I missed. But when you love someone, when you trust someone, you make excuses for things you should be questioning. That Thursday afternoon, I was 9 months pregnant and completely blind to the truth. Kevin came home around 7 that evening. I was so excited to show him the finished nursery. I had finally gotten everything exactly the way I wanted it. "Baby," I called out when I heard the garage door open. "Come look, the nursery is finally done." He walked in the door still in his work clothes. Nice suit, expensive shoes. He always dressed well. That was one of the things I loved about him in the beginning. "That is nice, babe," he said without even looking toward the stairs. "Do you want to come see it?" I asked. I waddled toward him, one hand on my belly. The baby had been kicking all day, and I wanted to share that with him. Later he said, "I am tired. Long day." He went straight to the bathroom. I heard the shower turn on. He was always showering as soon as he got home lately. At the time, I thought he just wanted to relax after work. Now I know he was washing off the evidence of where he had really been. I made dinner that night, his favorite. Baked chicken with rice and vegetables. It took me an hour to prepare, even though my feet were swollen and my back was aching, and my doctor had told me to rest. I did it because I loved him, because I wanted him to be happy. He sat at the table, scrolling through his phone the entire time, barely looked at me, barely tasted the food. "Kevin," I said softly, "is everything okay? You have seemed distant lately." He finally looked up. His eyes were empty. "Just work stress. Big project coming up. I will be better once it is done." I believed him. Of course I believed him. This was my husband, the father of my child. Why would he lie to me? That night in bed, I tried to cuddle up next to him. My belly was so big it was hard to get comfortable, but I wanted to feel close to him. I missed him. Even though he was right there, it felt like he was a million miles away. "Babe." "I am exhausted," he said, turning away from me. I lay there in the dark for hours, staring at the ceiling, one hand on my belly, feeling our daughter move. Something is wrong, I thought. I can feel it. But what I told myself, I was being paranoid. Pregnancy hormones making me crazy. He is just stressed about the baby coming. First-time father nerves, totally normal. I made so many excuses for that man. I twisted myself into knots, trying to explain away the obvious truth that was staring me right in the face. The next morning was Friday, 4 days before my due date. Kevin was up early, which was unusual. He was in the bathroom for almost an hour. When he came out, he was dressed nicer than usual for a Friday. New cologne, the kind I did not recognize. "I might be late tonight," he said, grabbing his keys. "Do not wait up for me." He kissed me on the forehead, not on the lips, the forehead, like I was his grandmother instead of his wife. "Kevin," I called after him, "I love you." He was already halfway out the door. "You too," he said over his shoulder. Then he was gone. I stood in the kitchen for a long time after he left. Something felt off, really off. But I could not put my finger on what it was. That empty feeling in my stomach was not just the baby moving. It was my intuition trying to warn me, trying to tell me that my whole world was about to come crashing down. But I ignored it. I pushed it away. I went about my day like nothing was wrong. That was my biggest mistake. I found the first clue completely by accident. Kevin had left his phone on the kitchen counter when he went to shower that morning. It kept buzzing, over and over. Whoever was texting him really wanted his attention. I was not the type of wife who went through her husband's phone. I trusted him. I respected his privacy. But the constant buzzing was getting on my nerves, so I picked it up just to silence it. That is when I saw the notification on the lock screen. V with a heart emoji. Cannot wait to see you tonight, baby. Our little secret with a kiss emoji. My heart stopped. I swear to you, for about 5 seconds, my heart just stopped beating. V. Who is V? My mind started racing. A work colleague, maybe? Someone named Victoria Veronica. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe I was reading too much into it. I tried to unlock the phone. His passcode used to be my birthday, but it did not work. He had changed it. When did he change it? Why would he change it? I heard the shower turn off. I quickly put the phone back exactly where I found it and pretended to be making coffee. Kevin came down the stairs, picked up his phone without even glancing at it, and shoved it in his pocket. I said goodbye like everything was normal. I watched him drive away like everything was normal. Then I sat down at the kitchen table and tried to convince myself that I was being crazy. It is nothing, I told myself. You are 9 months pregnant and hormonal and paranoid. He loves you. He would never cheat on you. I said those words out loud, like saying them would make them true. I called my best friend Mimi around noon. Michelle Washington. We have been friends since college. She is an ER nurse, tough as nails, and the most honest person I know. If anyone would tell me the truth, it was her. Girl, I said when she picked up. I need to talk to you about something. I told her about the text message, about Kevin's strange behavior lately, about the feeling in my gut that something was very wrong. Destiny, she said after I finished. You are probably overthinking this. Pregnancy hormones got you all paranoid. You need to rest. But what if I am not overthinking it? What if something is really going on? Then we will handle it, she said firmly. But right now, you are about to have a baby. The last thing you need is stress. Your blood pressure is already high enough. She was right. My doctor had been warning me about my blood pressure for weeks. Gestational diabetes was already making this a high-risk pregnancy. I did not need to add anxiety to the list. You are right, I told her. I am probably being crazy. You are not crazy, Mimi said. You are just pregnant and exhausted. Try to rest, and call me if you need anything. After we hung up, I tried to take her advice. I went to the nursery and sat in the rocking chair looking at all the things I had prepared for my daughter. This was supposed to be the happiest time of my life. I was about to become a mother. I should have been focused on that, not on my husband's suspicious behavior. But I could not let it go. Something was eating at me. I went to my laptop and logged into our joint bank account. I just wanted to pay a few bills, I told myself. Normal stuff. What I found was anything but normal. Our joint savings account should have had about $45,000 in it. That was my maternity leave fund. I had been saving for 2 years so I could take 6 months off with the baby without worrying about money. The current balance, $12,347. Over $30,000 was missing. I scrolled through the transaction history, my hands shaking. Withdrawal $5,000. Withdrawal $8,000. Withdrawal $10,000. Withdrawal after withdrawal, all made at the ATM. All made by Kevin. Where did the money go? I clicked on our joint credit card statement next. The card was in my name, but Kevin was an authorized user. What I found made me sick to my stomach. Charges at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, multiple nights over the past 3 months. Charges at expensive restaurants I had never been to. La Maison, the Capitol Grill, Nobu. A charge at a jewelry store for $4,500. I never received any jewelry. A recurring monthly payment of $2,800 to an account I did not recognize. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. This was not stress about work. This was not first-time father nerves. This was something else entirely. I picked up my phone and called Carmen. Carmen Reyes. She works in HR at my company and has access to employee databases. She owed me a favor from when I helped her with her tax situation last year. Carmen, I said when she answered, I need you to do something for me. And I need you to keep it between us. What do you need? I need you to run an employment verification on someone for a mortgage refinance application. Okay, she said slowly. Who? My husband, Kevin Carter. There was a pause. Girl, is everything okay? I do not know yet. That is what I am trying to find out. Give me 20 minutes, she said. I will call you back. Those 20 minutes were the longest of my life. I sat on the couch rubbing my belly, trying to stay calm for the baby's sake, but inside I was falling apart. I could feel it. Something terrible was about to be revealed. When my phone finally rang, Carmen's voice was different, softer, concerned. Destiny, she said. I do not know how to tell you this. Just say it. Kevin does not work at Morrison & Associates anymore. He has not worked there for 8 months. 8 months. That is impossible. He leaves for work every morning. He comes home every night talking about projects and clients and meetings. I do not know what to tell you, Carmen said. According to their HR department, he was let go 8 months ago. The last day of his employment was February 23rd. February. That was 2 months after I told him I was pregnant. Destiny, Carmen said gently. What do you want me to do? I could not answer. I could not breathe. For 8 months, my husband had been pretending to go to work every day. For 8 months, he had been living off my income completely. For 8 months, he had been lying to my face while I trusted him completely. Where had he been going? What had he been doing? And whose bed had he been sleeping in? Destiny. Carmen's voice sounded far away. Are you still there? I have to go, I managed to say. I will call you back. I hung up the phone and sat there in silence. The baby kicked hard, like she knew something was wrong, like she was trying to tell me to wake up and see what was right in front of my face. My husband was not who I thought he was. My marriage was not what I thought it was. My entire life was built on lies, and I was about to find out just how deep those lies went. I spent the next 3 hours becoming a detective in my own marriage. I could not physically follow Kevin. I was 9 months pregnant and my doctor had ordered bed rest. But I did not need to follow him. I am an accountant. I know how to trace money, and money always tells the truth. I pulled out every financial document I could find, bank statements going back 2 years, credit card bills, tax returns. I spread them across the dining room table like evidence at a crime scene. Because that is what this was, a crime. My husband was robbing me blind while I carried his child. The picture that emerged made me sick to my stomach. For the past 8 months, Kevin had contributed exactly $0 to our household. Not one payment for the mortgage, not one grocery bill, not one utility, nothing. Before that, his contributions were sporadic at best. A few hundred here, 1,000 there. Never consistent, never reliable. I did the math. Over our 6 years of marriage, I had put over $180,000 into our life together. Kevin had contributed maybe $40,000, and most of that was in the first year when he was still pretending to be a responsible man. The credit card charges told an even uglier story. I traced every hotel charge, every restaurant, every suspicious expense. The Ritz-Carlton appearances started about 6 months ago, the same time Kevin suddenly needed to work late every night, the same time he became distant and cold, the same time he stopped touching me. He had been taking someone to those hotels, someone who was not his pregnant wife. I found charges at lingerie stores. I have not worn lingerie in months. There is nothing sexy about swollen ankles and a 40-pound baby belly. I found charges at spas, day spas, couples massages. The last time Kevin took me anywhere nice was our anniversary 3 years ago. I found a monthly payment of $2,800 going to a bank account I had never seen before. That payment had been going out for 4 months straight. What was it for rent on an apartment support for another woman? My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone when Mimi called me back. Girl, I found something I said before she could even say hello. It is bad, really bad. Slow down, Mimi said. What are you talking about? I told her everything. The missing money, the fake job, the hotel charges, the mysterious payments. I am coming over, she said immediately. Do not do anything until I get there. Mimi arrived 30 minutes later with her laptop and a determination in her eyes that I had never seen before. That is the thing about true friends. When your world is falling apart, they show up ready to fight. Okay, she said, sitting down next to me at the table. Let us find out who this man really is. Together we started digging. Kevin used our shared computer sometimes. He was usually careful about logging out of things, but nobody is perfect. We found his email still logged in from a few days ago. His regular email was boring. Work stuff or what I thought was work stuff. Spam. Nothing interesting. But then Mimi found a second email account, one I had never seen before. kevinc1987@gmail.com. That is when we found her. Vanessa Rhodes. Her Instagram was linked in one of his emails. I clicked on it, and my whole world shattered into a million pieces. She was beautiful. I have to give her that. 29 years old, according to her bio, light-skinned with long hair and perfect makeup, called herself a lifestyle influencer. 50,000 followers watching her pretend to live a glamorous life. Her photos showed expensive restaurants, designer clothes, luxury hotels. Wait, I recognize that hotel. The Ritz-Carlton. The same hotel on our credit card statement. And there, 3 weeks ago, she posted a photo. My husband, Kevin. His arm around her waist, smiling at the camera, like he did not have a pregnant wife at home. The caption made me want to throw up. Baby moon with my king, crown emoji, heart emoji, at Kevin Carter, baby moon. I scrolled down her page with trembling fingers, more photos of Kevin, more romantic captions. And then I saw it, a photo from 2 months ago. Vanessa in a tight dress, her hand on her stomach. The caption said, 4 months pregnant. She was pregnant. This woman was pregnant with my husband's baby. I sat back in my chair. I could not breathe. The room was spinning. Mimi grabbed my shoulders. Destiny. Destiny, look at me. Breathe. You need to breathe. She is pregnant, I whispered. He got another woman pregnant. I know, Mimi said, her voice hard as steel. And we are going to make him pay for this. She started scrolling through the emails while I tried not to pass out. What she found was even worse than the Instagram. Love letters. Dozens of them. Kevin telling Vanessa she was the love of his life. Kevin promising to leave me. Kevin calling me his crazy ex-wife who would not sign the divorce papers. Divorce papers. What divorce papers? I had never seen. Any divorce papers. We were not getting divorced. I was 9 months pregnant with his baby. He had been telling this woman that we were already separated, that I was some delusional woman who refused to accept that he had moved on. He had painted me as the villain in a story I did not even know was being written. And then we found his plan. An email to Vanessa from 2 weeks ago. Once the divorce is finalized, we will be together for real. I am working on transferring the assets now. By the time that woman figures out what happened, everything will be in my name. That woman. That is what he called me. The mother of his child. The woman who had supported him for 6 years. That woman. He was planning to divorce me, take everything I had built, and start a new life with Vanessa and their baby, and he thought I would never find out until it was too late. Mimi looked at me with fire in her eyes. What do you want to do? Before I could answer, a pain shot through my abdomen, sharp, intense, different from anything I had felt before. Mimi, I gasped. Something is wrong. She looked at my face and immediately went into nurse mode. Are you having contractions? Another pain hit, harder this time. I think so, I said. But it is too early. I am not due for 4 more days. Babies do not check calendars, Mimi said, already grabbing her keys. We are going to the hospital, now. As she helped me to the car, my phone fell out of my pocket. The screen lit up with a text notification from Kevin. Working late again tonight. Do not wait up. Working late. With his pregnant mistress. While his pregnant wife was about to go into labor alone. But he did not know I knew. Not yet. And by the time he found out, I was going to make sure he regretted every single lie he ever told me. The contractions were getting closer together as Mimi sped toward the hospital. I gripped the handle above the window, breathing through the pain, thinking about everything I had just discovered. This was not how I imagined my daughter's birth. I had pictured Kevin holding my hand, coaching me through the contractions, crying tears of joy when he saw her face for the first time. Instead, I was racing to the hospital with my best friend, while my husband was probably whining and dining his side chick at some expensive restaurant. But even through the pain and the heartbreak, something else was rising up inside me. Anger. Pure, righteous anger. Kevin thought he was so clever, thought he had outsmarted me, thought he could steal my money, waste my years, break my heart, and walk away without consequences. He had no idea who he was dealing with. I had built everything we had from nothing. I had survived poverty, I had survived abandonment, I had survived everything life threw at me, and came out stronger every time. This man was not going to break me. He was going to regret the day he ever tried. But first, I had to bring my daughter into the world, and I was going to do it with or without him. We got to the hospital at 7:30 that Friday evening. The contractions were coming every 10 minutes by then, strong, painful, real. The nurse who checked me in looked at my face and knew immediately that this was happening fast. "You are already 5 centimeters dilated," she said. "This baby is coming tonight or tomorrow morning. Is the father on his way?" The father. I almost laughed. If only she knew. "I will call him," I said. They got me into a labor and delivery room. Mimi stayed right by my side, holding my hand through every contraction. I picked up my phone and called Kevin. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. "Hi, you have reached Kevin Carter. Leave a message." I hung up and called again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. On the 5th try, he finally answered. He sounded annoyed, like I was interrupting something important. "Destiny, I am in the middle of something." "What is it? I am in labor," I said, gritting my teeth through another contraction. "I am at the hospital. The baby is coming." Silence. Long, heavy silence. "Kevin, are you there?" "Yeah," he said. His voice sounded strange, distant. I am out of town. Work emergency. I drove up to Macon for a client meeting. Macon. That was 2 hours away. You need to come back," I said. "Now. I am having our baby." More silence. I could hear muffled sounds in the background. Music. A woman's voice laughing. "I will try to get there," he said finally, "but traffic is really bad. It might take a while. Kevin, please, I need you here." "I said I will try," he snapped. "Just calm down. You have the nurses. You will be fine." Then he hung up. My husband hung up on me while I was in labor with his child. I stared at the phone in my hand. Mimi was watching me with tears in her eyes. "He is not coming, is he?" she asked softly. I shook my head. "No, he is not coming." The contractions got worse over the next few hours, harder, closer together. The pain was unlike anything I had ever experienced. It felt like my body was being torn apart from the inside, but the physical pain was nothing compared to what was happening in my heart. Every time the door opened, I looked up, hoping it would be Kevin. Every time my phone buzzed, I grabbed it, hoping it was him, saying he was on his way. But he never came. He never called. He never texted. My mama arrived around 9 o'clock. Mimi had called her. She rushed into the room, took one look at the empty chair next to my bed, and understood everything. "Where is he?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were furious. "He is not coming, Mama." She walked over to me and took my hand, the hand that was supposed to be held by my husband. "Then we will do this without him," she said firmly. "Women have been having babies without men for thousands of years. You are strong, Destiny. You are a Carter woman. We survive. We always survive." I labored through the night. The hours blurred together into a haze of pain and exhaustion and heartbreak. Mimi kept trying to call Kevin. It went straight to voicemail every time. He had turned off his phone. Turned off his phone while his wife was in labor. At 3 in the morning, I was delirious with pain and exhaustion. The nurses were monitoring me constantly. My blood pressure was spiking. The baby's heart rate was fluctuating. "You need to rest between contractions," the nurse said. "Try to sleep if you can." But I could not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Kevin's face, saw him smiling in those photos with Vanessa, saw the words in those emails. "That woman, my crazy ex, everything will be in my name." Around 5 in the morning, the doctor came in and checked me. "You are fully dilated," she said. "It is time to push." I looked around the room. My mama was there. Mimi was there. 2 nurses were there. A team of professionals was ready to welcome my daughter into the world. But the one person who should have been there, the one person who helped create this child, was 60 miles away with another woman. I pushed for almost 2 hours. The pain was indescribable. I screamed. I cried. I begged for it to be over. Mimi held one leg. Mama held the other. They counted with me, breathed with me, encouraged me when I wanted to give up, and through it all, that empty chair next to my bed was a constant reminder of what I had lost, of who I had lost, of the life I thought I had that was never real. At 6:47 on Saturday morning, my daughter came into the world. I heard her cry before I saw her face. This tiny, powerful wail that filled the room and pierced straight through my heart. "It is a girl," the doctor announced. A healthy baby girl. They placed her on my chest, warm, squirming, perfect. She had my eyes, my nose, a full head of dark curly hair. I looked down at this miracle in my arms, this tiny person I had been waiting 9 months to meet, and I felt something break inside me. But it was not sadness. It was not despair. It was the last piece of my old life shattering to make room for something new. "Hi, baby girl," I whispered through my tears. "I am your mama, and I am never going to leave you. Never. I promise." She opened her eyes and looked at me, like she understood, like she knew. "What is her name?" the nurse asked, clipboard ready. I thought about all the names Kevin and I had discussed, the lists we made, the arguments we had. He wanted to name her after his mother. I wanted something meaningful. But Kevin was not here. Kevin had made his choice. And now I was making mine. "Hope," I said, looking at my daughter's face. "Her name is Hope." Because that is what she was. In the middle of all this pain and betrayal and heartbreak, this tiny baby was my hope, my reason to keep going, my proof that something beautiful could come from something broken. Mama cried. Mimi cried. I cried. The nurses smiled. And somewhere across the city, Kevin Carter was probably waking up next to another woman, completely unaware that he had just missed the most important moment of his life. A few hours later, after I had been cleaned up and moved to a recovery room, Mimi handed me my phone. "You need to see this," she said quietly. Her voice was strange, controlled rage barely contained. I looked at the screen. She had pulled up Vanessa's Instagram. There was a new post, uploaded at 2 a.m, right around the time I was pushing through the worst contractions of my life. A photo of Kevin and Vanessa at a hotel, champagne glasses in their hands, her baby bump visible in a tight dress. The caption read, "Baby moon with my king. Our future is so bright." Crown emoji, heart emoji, baby emoji. The location tag said, "The Ritz-Carlton, Atlanta." She was not in Macon. He was not stuck in traffic. They were in Atlanta, 60 miles and one lifetime away from where I needed him. He had chosen to vacation with his mistress while I gave birth to his daughter alone. I looked at that photo. Then I looked at Hope sleeping peacefully in the hospital bassinet next to my bed, and something inside me shifted. The sadness was still there. The heartbreak was still there. But something else was rising up, something stronger. Fury. Not the hot, explosive kind, the cold kind, the calculated kind, the kind that builds empires and destroys enemies. Mimi. I said, my voice steady for the first time in days. "Call Tanya. Tell her I need a lawyer. The best one she knows. Tell her I want to file for divorce before Kevin even knows what hit him." Mimi smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a woman who has been waiting for her friend to finally wake up. "Now we are talking," she said. "I will call her right now." I looked at Hope one more time, at her perfect face, at her tiny fingers curled into fists like she was already ready to fight. "Do not worry, baby girl," I whispered. "Mama is going to take care of everything. That man thinks he is going to leave us with nothing. He has no idea what is coming. Kevin Carter wanted a war. He was about to get one." The next 48 hours changed everything. I was still in the hospital recovering from 37 hours of labor when Tanya Brooks walked into my room. Tanya was a real estate attorney, but she had been through her own divorce 3 years ago, a nasty one. Her ex-husband tried to take everything too. He failed. She made sure of that. She was wearing a sharp navy blue suit, carrying a leather briefcase, and had the look of a woman who was ready for war. "Girl," she said, walking over to kiss my forehead. Then she looked at Hope, sleeping in the bassinet. "She is beautiful. Congratulations." "Thank you," I said. "But I did not call you here to celebrate." Tanya pulled up a chair and sat down next to my bed. "I know. Mimi told me everything. Tell me what you know, every detail." So I told her about the text message from V, about the missing money, about Kevin's fake job, About Vanessa and her Instagram and her pregnant belly. About the emails calling me that woman. About how he left me in labor to vacation with his mistress. Tanya took notes the entire time. Her face got harder with every sentence. When I finished, she closed her notebook and looked at me. "Destiny," she said slowly, "this man is not just a cheater. He is a thief. And he has been planning to rob you blind for months." "I know," I said. "But what can I do about it? The house is in both our names. The bank accounts are joint. He has been spending my money like it is his." Tanya smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator who has spotted wounded prey. "Let me tell you something about Georgia law," she said. "Georgia is an equitable distribution state. That means assets are divided fairly in a divorce. Not necessarily equally. Fairly." She leaned forward. "You put $60,000 down on that house, your inheritance from your grandmother. That is called separate property. It belongs to you." "But the deed is in both our names," I said. "Does not matter. You have documentation of where that down payment came from. You have bank statements showing every mortgage payment came from your account. You have proof that Kevin contributed almost nothing for the past 8 months." She started counting on her fingers. "The money he stole from your savings. That is called dissipation of marital assets. It is illegal. A judge will make him pay it back." "His affair. While you were pregnant, judges hate that, especially when the other woman is also pregnant. Him abandoning you during labor, that is evidence of his character, evidence that he is not fit to be a custodial parent." My heart started beating faster. For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt something other than despair. Hope. "What do I need to do?" I asked. Tanya pulled out a stack of papers from her briefcase. "First, we protect your assets. Right now, today. I need you to open a new bank account in your name only. We are going to transfer whatever is left in your joint accounts before Kevin can take any more. Can I do that? Legally. You can move half of any joint assets without his permission. And frankly, given that he has already stolen over $30,000, you are entitled to protect what is left." She handed me the papers. "Second, we file for divorce. I have a colleague who specializes in family law. Monique Turner. She is one of the best in the city, and she owes me a favor." I looked at the papers. Petition for dissolution of marriage. The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. "I never wanted this," I whispered. "I wanted a family, a real family. I wanted Hope to have what I never had, a father who stayed." Tanya reached over and squeezed my hand. "I know," she said softly, "but listen to me. You did nothing wrong. You were a good wife, a faithful wife. You supported that man for 6 years while he lied and cheated and stole from you." Her voice hardened. "Hope deserves better than a father like Kevin. And you deserve better than a husband like him. The best thing you can do for your daughter is show her what a strong woman looks like. Show her that we do not let men walk all over us. Show her that we fight back." I looked at Hope, sleeping peacefully, completely unaware that her parents' marriage was about to explode. "Okay," I said. "What do we do first?" "First," Tanya said, standing up, "we call the bank." Within 2 hours, I had a new checking account and a new savings account, both in my name only. The remaining $12,000 from our joint savings was now safely in my control. I also froze the joint credit cards so Kevin could not run up any more charges in my name. Then Tanya called Monique Turner. They spoke for about 20 minutes while I fed Hope her bottle. When she hung up, she was smiling. "Monique is taking your case," she said. "Pro bono." "Pro bono. Why would she do that for free?" "Because she has been where you are," Tanya said. Her ex-husband tried the same thing, hid money, lied about his job, had a whole other family she did not know about. She fought back and won. Now she helps other women do the same. She handed me a business card. "Monique Turner, family law attorney. She wants to meet with you Monday morning," Tanya said. "She is going to file emergency motions, temporary custody, child support, restraining order if we need it. By the time Kevin figures out what is happening, you will have already won half the battle." I looked at the business card in my hand. Then I looked at Hope. "Thank you," I said to Tanya. "I do not know how I will ever repay you." "You do not have to repay me," Tanya said. "Just promise me one thing. What promise me you will fight? Promise me you will not let that man take anything else from you. Not your house, not your money, not your peace, not your daughter. I promise, I said, and I meant it. That night, alone in my hospital room with Hope sleeping beside me, I made a list. Every lie Kevin had told me, every dollar he had stolen, every promise he had broken. The list was long. It filled 3 pages. But by the time I finished, I was not crying anymore. I was planning. Kevin thought he was dealing with the same woman he had been manipulating for 6 years, the woman who believed his lies, the woman who trusted him blindly, the woman who would crumble when he left. But that woman died in the delivery room. She died alone, abandoned, pushing a baby into the world while her husband partied with his mistress. The woman who remained was different, harder, smarter, angrier, and she was not going to let Kevin Carter get away with anything. Kevin finally showed up on Sunday morning, 2 days after Hope was born, 48 hours after I needed him most. I was sitting up in bed nursing Hope when the door opened and he walked in like nothing had happened. He was carrying flowers, roses. Red roses like this was some romantic gesture that would make everything okay. "Hey, babe," he said with that smile, that stupid, charming smile that I used to love. "How is my girl?" I stared at him, took in every detail, the fresh haircut he must have gotten yesterday, the new shirt I had never seen before, the complete absence of guilt on his face. He walked toward the bassinet, reaching out like he was going to pick up Hope. "Do not touch her," I said. My voice was calm, cold, nothing like the desperate woman who had called him 12 times during labor. Kevin froze. "What?" "You heard me. Do not touch my daughter." "Our daughter," he corrected, laughing nervously. "Come on, Destiny. What is this about?" I set Hope down gently in her bassinet. Then I turned to face the man I had married, the man I had trusted, the man who had betrayed me in the worst possible way. "Where were you, Kevin? I told you I was in Macon, work emergency. I tried to get back, but traffic was insane, and then my phone died, and by the time I got to a charger, you had already delivered, and I figured I would just wait until morning to come see you." He said it all so smoothly, so rehearsed. He had probably practiced that lie in the mirror. "Macon," I repeated. "Yeah, client emergency." "That is interesting," I said, "because your girlfriend posted a photo of you at the Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta at 2 a.m, while I was in labor." The color drained from his face. It happened so fast like someone had flipped a switch. "I do not know what you are talking about." "Vanessa Rhodes," I said, 29 years old, Instagram influencer, 4 months pregnant with your baby. Ring any bells? Kevin's mouth opened and closed. He looked like a fish gasping for air. "Destiny, listen. That is not what it looks like, really. Because it looks like you spent the night I gave birth to your daughter in a hotel room with your pregnant mistress. It looks like you watched my calls go to voicemail while you popped champagne with another woman. It looks like you have been lying to me for months, maybe years. Baby, please let me explain." He moved toward me with his hands up, trying to look apologetic, trying to look sincere. But I saw him now, really saw him for the first time. The charm was fake. The smile was calculated. Everything about this man was a performance. "There is nothing to explain," I said. "I know about the affair. I know she is pregnant. I know you have been telling her you are divorced. How did you find out about that? I also know you lost your job 8 months ago. 8 months, Kevin. You have been pretending to go to work every day while living off my income." His face changed. The fake apologetic expression disappeared, replaced by something harder, meaner. "Who told you that I know about the money? Over $30,000 missing from our savings. My maternity leave fund. Gone. And I know exactly where it went." Kevin's jaw tightened. "You went through my things. Our things I corrected. Our bank account. Our credit cards. Our house. Everything that you were trying to steal from me. I was not stealing from you." He said, his voice rising. "That is our money. I had every right to use it. For what hotel rooms, for your mistress' jewelry, for her monthly payments to an account I cannot even trace. That is none of your business." I laughed, actually laughed, in his face. "Kevin, everything is my business now, because I am filing for divorce. You will be served this week, and I am filing for full custody of Hope." His eyes went wide. "You cannot do that." "I already did it." I watched his expression shift again. The panic was real now. The calculation was real now. He was realizing that his plan was falling apart. "Half of everything is mine," he said. His voice was low, threatening. "Half that house, half the savings, half of everything you have. What savings? You already spent it on your girlfriend. Do not play games with me, Destiny. I know my rights. My mother has a lawyer, a good one. You try to take everything from me, I will fight you." "Your mother," I said. "Of course. Patricia. She probably knew about this the whole time, did she not?" Kevin did not answer, which was answer enough. "Let me tell you something," I said, standing up from the bed. I was still sore, still exhausted, but I needed him to see me, really see me. Not as his doormat wife, as his opponent. That house was bought with my inheritance, my down payment. Every mortgage payment has come from my account for the past 8 months. You contributed nothing. I stepped closer to him. "My lawyer says that is called separate property. My lawyer says you have a claim to almost nothing. And my lawyer says what you did with our joint savings counts as theft." Kevin's face twisted. "You think you are so smart." "I think I am smarter than you gave me credit for." He moved toward me, fast, aggressive. For a second I thought he might actually hit me. His hands were balled into fists. His face was red with rage. But then the door opened. Mama walked in, and behind her, Mimi. They took one look at the situation and understood immediately. "Is there a problem here?" Mama asked. Her voice was sweet. Her eyes were deadly. Kevin stepped back, unclenched his fists, tried to put the mask back on. "No problem," he said. "Just having a conversation with my wife." "Your wife is recovering from childbirth," Mimi said. "She does not need this stress. You should leave." "This is not over," Kevin said, pointing at me. "You are going to regret this, Destiny. Everything you are doing right now, you are going to regret." He stormed toward the door. But before he left, he turned back one more time. "I will take that house. I will take that baby. I will take everything you love. And when I am done, you will have nothing." Then he was gone. Mama rushed to my side. "Are you okay? Did he hurt you?" "I am fine," I said. And for the first time I meant it. I am actually fine. Because in that moment I realized something important. Kevin was scared. He was threatening me because he was terrified of what I could do to him. All his power had been based on my ignorance. Now that I knew the truth, he had nothing. "He wants a war," I said quietly. "He is going to get one." Mimi smiled. "That is my girl." Mama looked at Hope sleeping peacefully through all of it. "That man does not know who he is dealing with," she said. "He thinks he is fighting a wife. He is fighting a mother. And there is nothing more dangerous than a mother protecting her child." She was right. Kevin Carter had made the biggest mistake of his life when he chose to betray me. But he made an even bigger mistake when he threatened my daughter. Because now this was not just about me anymore. This was about Hope, about her future, about making sure she never had to depend on a man who would abandon her. I was going to win this fight, not for revenge, not for pride, for her. And I was going to make sure Kevin regretted every single choice that brought him to this moment. Monday morning I was discharged from the hospital with Hope in my arms and a folder full of evidence in my bag. Mama had moved into my house while I was in the hospital. She changed the locks the first day, got new keys made, installed a Ring doorbell so we could see who was coming. She was not taking any chances with Kevin showing up unannounced. When I walked through the front door of my own home, I broke down crying, not from sadness, from relief. This was still my house, my sanctuary, and I was going to make sure it stayed that way. At 10 o'clock, I met Monique Turner at her office downtown. She was a tall woman with natural locks and sharp eyes behind designer glasses. She looked like the kind of woman who did not lose arguments, the kind of woman who made men tremble in courtrooms. "Destiny," she said, shaking my hand firmly. "I have heard a lot about you. Please sit down." Her office was covered with diplomas, certifications, and photos of her with various clients, all women, all smiling, all I assumed survivors like me. Tanya told me your situation, Monique said, settling into her chair behind a massive mahogany desk. But I want to hear it from you. Everything. So I told her. Again, from the beginning, the text message, the missing money, the fake job, the mistress, the pregnancy, the abandonment, the threats Kevin made in the hospital. Monique listened without interrupting. She took notes on a legal pad. When I finished, she set down her pen and looked at me. Let me be clear about something she said. Your husband is not just a cheater. He is a financial predator. He married you for your money, your stability, and your willingness to carry the household. And when he found a new target, he started planning to extract maximum value before leaving. That was exactly what I had been trying to accept. But hearing it from a lawyer made it real. What can I do? I asked. Everything she said. And we are going to start today. She pulled out a folder and spread papers across her desk. First, let us talk about the house. You said the down payment came from your grandmother's inheritance? Yes, $60,000. Do you have documentation of that? I have the bank records. The estate documents. The deposit slip into the escrow account. Perfect. That establishes the house as primarily your separate property. Even though Kevin's name is on the deed, the equity you built comes from your contributions. But Georgia is a community property state, right? I asked. Does he not get? Half Monique shook her head. Georgia is equitable distribution, not community property. That means assets are divided fairly, not equally. Fair takes into account contributions, circumstances, and behavior. She pointed to her notes. You contributed over $180,000 to this marriage over 6 years. Kevin contributed maybe $40,000, and most of that was in the first year. For the past 8 months, he contributed nothing while secretly unemployed. She smiled grimly. No judge is going to give him half. What about the money he stole? I asked. The $30,000 from our savings. That is dissipation of marital assets, Monique said. It is illegal. We can sue to recover it. And the fact that he used it for an affair makes it even worse. Judges hate that. She leaned back in her chair. Here is what we are going to do. Today, I am filing an emergency motion for temporary custody. You are the primary caregiver. You are breastfeeding. You have a stable home and income. Kevin has no income, no stable housing, and a history of deception. Will I get it? I asked. Almost certainly, especially once I submit evidence of his abandonment during your labor. What father misses his child's birth to vacation with his mistress? She pulled out another form. I am also filing for emergency child support. He may not have a job, but he has access to money. His mother is wealthy. He has been spending freely. He can figure out how to support his child. What about the house? Can he come back? Not if we get a restraining order, Monique said. And based on his threatening behavior in the hospital, I think we have grounds for one. She looked at me seriously. Destiny, I need you to understand something. This is going to get ugly. Kevin is going to fight. His mother is going to fund that fight. They are going to say terrible things about you. They are going to try to paint you as the villain. I know I said, are you ready for that? I thought about Hope, about the future I wanted for her, about the woman I needed to become to give her that future. I am ready, I said. Whatever it takes, good Monique said. Now let us talk about evidence. For the next 3 hours, we built a case. Carmen had sent over everything she found about Kevin's employment history, or lack thereof. Mimi had printed out Vanessa's entire Instagram history, including every photo of Kevin. Tanya had pulled property records and financial documents. What emerged was a portrait of a con man. Kevin had been fired from 4 different jobs over the past 10 years, each time for financial irregularities, stealing from employers, padding expense reports, embezzling funds. 3 of the companies chose not to press charges because he paid the money back. With my money, I realized, every time he needed to make restitution, he came up with some reason to borrow from our accounts. Investment opportunities, business expenses, helping a friend. It was never real. None of it was real. We also found the source of those mysterious monthly payments, $2,800 a month going to a property management company for a luxury apartment downtown. He was renting an apartment, Monique said, for 8 months. That is almost $23,000. For him and Vanessa, I said, the realization hitting me, he was building a whole other life while living in my house. Monique nodded. We are going to get that money back. Every penny. By the end of our meeting, we had a stack of evidence 3 inches thick: bank statements, credit card records, employment documents, photos, screenshots, a complete history of Kevin's deception. Monique walked me to the door. "We are filing everything tomorrow," she said. "Kevin will be served by Wednesday. The emergency hearing for custody and support will be within 2 weeks." She squeezed my shoulder. "I know this is hard, but you are doing the right thing for yourself and for your daughter." "Thank you," I said, "for believing me, for fighting for me." Monique smiled. "That is what I do. I fight for women like us, women who trusted the wrong man, women who gave everything and got betrayed in return." Her eyes hardened. "And I win, every single time." I drove home with hope in my heart for the first time in days. Real hope. Not just the blind hope I had during my marriage, but hope based on facts, on evidence, on a plan. Kevin thought he was the smart one, the clever one, the one who had everything figured out. He had no idea what was coming. The message came on Thursday night, a week after Hope was born. I was in the nursery rocking her to sleep when my phone buzzed with an Instagram notification. I almost ignored it. I had been avoiding social media since everything happened. Too many memories, too many lies. But something made me look. It was a direct message from Vanessa Rhodes. "I need to talk to you. Please, it is important." My first instinct was to block her immediately. This was the woman who had been sleeping with my husband, the woman who posted vacation photos while I was giving birth, the woman who was carrying his child while I was carrying mine. I blocked her. Then I unblocked her. Then I blocked her again. Mimi called me 30 minutes later. She had gotten the same message forwarded to her from my account. "What the hell is this?" she asked. "I do not know," I said. "But I do not trust her." "Of course you do not trust her," Mimi said. "She was sleeping with your husband. But think about it. Why would she reach out now to gloat, to cause drama? Or maybe because she found out the truth too?" I thought about that. Kevin had been lying to me for years. Why would Vanessa be any different? He told her we were divorced. He told her I was his crazy ex. He painted himself as the victim. What if she just found out she was also being played? "What do you think I should do?" I asked Mimi. "I think you should hear what she has to say," Mimi replied. "The enemy of your enemy might just be your ally, and if she has information that can help you in court, you need it." She was right. This was not about feelings anymore. This was about strategy, about winning. I unblocked Vanessa and sent a reply. "What do you want?" Her response came immediately, like she had been waiting. "Can we meet in person? I have things to show you. Things about Kevin. You need to see them." I thought about it for a long moment. Then I typed back, "Tomorrow, noon, the coffee shop on Peachtree and 5th. Public place. I am bringing a friend. I will be there," she wrote. And Destiny. "I am sorry. I did not know." I did not respond to that. Sorry was not going to fix anything, but information might. The next day I sat in that coffee shop with Mimi beside me waiting. Hope was with Mama at home. I was not about to bring my baby to meet my husband's mistress. Vanessa walked in at exactly noon. She looked different from her Instagram photos, smaller, tired. Her makeup could not hide the dark circles under her eyes or the puffiness from crying. She was 5 months pregnant now, showing clearly, alone. She spotted me and walked over slowly, like she was approaching a wild animal that might attack. "Thank you for meeting me," she said softly. "I know you have no reason to trust me." "You are right," I said. "I do not. So talk fast." Vanessa sat down across from me. Her hands were shaking. "I did not know you were still married," she started. "Kevin told me you were divorced. He said you were his ex-wife who would not accept that it was over. He said you were unstable, crazy." She looked down at the table. I believed him, because I wanted to believe him. He was charming and successful, and he said all the right things. He told me he loved me. He told me we would be together. He told me he would take care of me and our baby. I watched her cry and felt nothing. This woman had helped destroy my marriage. I did not owe her sympathy. But then I saw your post. Your friend posted it. About your daughter being born. About you being alone in the hospital. Mimi had posted that. A birth announcement with a not-so-subtle message about absent fathers. I confronted Kevin. Vanessa continued. Told him I knew he had lied about you still being pregnant, about you still being married, about everything. What did he say? Vanessa laughed bitterly. He told me to mind my business, said it was complicated. Then he packed his bags and left where her eyes met mine. Left me. He moved out of the apartment we were sharing, took all the money he had been keeping in our joint account, cleared out everything. How much I asked? About $12,000. Everything I had saved, plus what he had put in. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. He is staying with his mother now, Vanessa said. Patricia, she is the one funding everything. Lawyers, living expenses, everything. Tell me something I do not know. Vanessa reached into her purse and pulled out a phone. This is why I needed to see you. She opened her text messages and turned the phone toward me. These are messages between Kevin and his mother. He was using my cloud backup without knowing it. Everything synced to my tablet. I looked at the screen, read the messages, felt my blood run cold. Patricia was not just funding Kevin's life. She was coordinating his attack against me. We need to move the money before she finds it. One message read, the offshore account, transfer everything. Another message. My lawyer says if we can prove she is mentally unstable, we can get custody. Find evidence, make something up if you have to. And another Costa Rica does not have extradition. If things go bad, we leave the country. They were planning to flee, to take everything and disappear. How long have you had these? I asked. A few days, Vanessa said. I did not know what to do. I thought about going to the police, but I do not know if it is even a crime. Mimi was already taking photos of the screen with her phone. Every message, every plan, every conspiracy. This is enough to bury him, she said. Destiny, this changes everything. I looked at Vanessa, really looked at her, past my anger, past my hurt. She was a victim too, not as innocent as me. She made choices. But Kevin had lied to her just like he lied to me, used her just like he used me. Why are you doing this? I asked. Why are you helping me? Because he left me with nothing, Vanessa said, her voice breaking. I am 5 months pregnant. I have no savings, no job, no support. He promised me the world and then threw me away like garbage. She wiped her eyes. And because I saw you. In the hospital. That photo your friend posted. You were alone, holding your baby, after giving birth by yourself. Because of me. Because I kept him away from you. She started crying harder. I did not know. I swear to God I did not know. And when I found out, I felt sick. I helped him do that to you. I hate myself for it. I did not know what to say. This woman had been my enemy. Now she was sitting across from me, broken and abandoned, offering me the weapons I needed to destroy our common enemy. Will you testify? I asked. In court, to everything you know. Vanessa nodded. Yes, everything. The lies he told me, the money he took, the plans he made with his mother, all of it. You understand this will be hard. His lawyers will attack you, call you names, try to destroy your credibility. I do not care, she said. He destroyed my life. He destroyed yours. The least I can do is make sure he does not get away with it. I looked at Mimi. She nodded slightly. I reached across the table and took Vanessa's hand. It was not forgiveness. I was not sure I would ever forgive her, but it was something. Okay, I said. Let us take this man down together. Vanessa squeezed my hand. Thank you. Our children are going to be siblings, I said quietly. They did not choose any of this. Whatever happens between us, they deserve to know each other someday. Vanessa nodded, tears streaming down her face. I would like that. We spent the next hour going through everything on her phone, every message, every email, every piece of evidence that Kevin and Patricia had been too arrogant to hide. By the time we left that coffee shop, I had enough ammunition to destroy Kevin Carter completely. He thought he was so clever, thought he had covered all his tracks. He forgot one thing. Women talk. And when you betray two women at the same time, eventually they are going to find each other. And when they do, God help you. Monique looked at the evidence Vanessa provided and smiled like a cat who just caught a very fat mouse. This is everything she said. The offshore accounts, the conspiracy with his mother, the plan to flee the country. He is done. But she was not satisfied with just winning. She wanted to destroy him. "Here is the thing about men like Kevin," she explained. "They are arrogant. They think they are smarter than everyone else. And when things start going wrong, they cannot resist trying to fix it themselves. Usually, they just make it worse." "What are you thinking?" I asked. "I am thinking we give Kevin an opportunity to incriminate himself even further." She laid out the plan. It was simple, elegant, devastating. I would call Kevin, tell him I wanted to talk, suggest we could work out an agreement without court, without lawyers, just the two of us like adults. He would come. Of course he would come. His arrogance would not allow him to resist the chance to manipulate me one more time, and when he did, I would be wearing a wire. "I do not know if I can do this," I said. "Sit across from him and pretend everything is okay. Pretend I am willing to negotiate." "You do not have to pretend everything is okay," Monique said. "You just have to let him talk. Men like Kevin love to talk. They love to explain how smart they are. Give him the chance and he will confess to everything." "Is it legal?" I asked. "To record him without his permission, Georgia is a one-party consent state," Monique explained. "As long as you consent to the recording, it is completely legal." Mimi squeezed my shoulder. "You can do this. Think of it as the final scene, the moment before the villain gets what he deserves." She was right. I had come too far to back down now. Kevin had humiliated me, abandoned me, stolen from me, threatened me. This was my chance to get justice. "Okay," I said, "let us do it." We set the meeting for Saturday afternoon, a restaurant downtown, public enough to feel safe, private enough for him to let his guard down. I called Kevin that morning, made my voice soft, uncertain. The voice of the woman he thought I still was. "Kevin," I said, "can we talk?" He was suspicious at first. After the hospital confrontation, he knew I was not going to roll over easily. "Talk about what? About everything. About the house, about hope, about our future." A pause. I could practically hear him calculating. "I thought you filed for divorce," he said. "I did, but I have been thinking. Maybe we moved too fast. Maybe there is a way to work this out that does not destroy both of us." Another pause, longer this time. "What do you have in mind? Can we meet?" "Just the two of us? No lawyers, no family, just you and me figuring this out like adults." I held my breath. This was the moment. If he said no, the plan was dead, but Kevin could not resist. The chance to manipulate me one more time was too tempting. "Fine," he said. "We're Marcello's, Saturday at 2. And Kevin, come alone. I will be there," he said. And then his voice softened into the fake charm he used to woo me all those years ago. "I am glad you called destiny. I knew you would come around." I almost vomited. On Saturday, I arrived at the restaurant an hour early. Monique's private investigator had already swept the location. She helped me put on the wire, a tiny device taped under my shirt. "Just be natural," she said. "Ask open-ended questions. Let him brag. The more he talks, the more he incriminates himself. What if he figures it out? He will not. Men like Kevin are too focused on themselves to notice anything else." I sat at the table, ordered a coffee. I would not drink and waited. Kevin walked in at exactly 2:00. He was dressed nice, smelled good, put together, like this was a date instead of the end of his marriage. "Destiny," he said, sliding into the chair across from me. "I am glad you called." I forced myself to smile. "Thank you for coming." He reached across the table like he was going to take my hand. I pulled back. "Let us just talk first," I said. "We have a lot to figure out." Kevin nodded, leaning back with that confident smile. "What do you want to talk about?" "The house," I said. "The money, hope, everything." For the next 30 minutes, I let him talk, and talk, and talk. He was so convinced that he had won, so sure that I was backing down. He could not resist rubbing it in. "Look," he said, lowering his voice conspiratorially, "I know things got messy. But here is the reality. Half of everything is mine. The house, the savings, all of it. My lawyer says I have a strong case." "Your lawyer," I said. "Is that the one your mother is paying for?" He shrugged. "Whatever. The point is, if we go to court, it is going to be expensive. For both of us. We will end up with less than if we just split things now. And what do you propose? Kevin smiled. That smile I used to love. That smile I now hated. You sign over the house to me. In exchange, I will drop any claim to child support. You can have hope. I will walk away clean. You want me to give you my house? The house I paid for? Our house, he corrected. And yes, it is the smart play. Otherwise, we spend the next 2 years in court. Is that what you want? What about the money I asked? The $30,000 from our savings. Kevin's smile faltered for just a second. What money? I do not know what you are talking about. Really? Because I have bank records. He leaned forward. His voice dropped. That money is gone. You will never find it. It is in accounts you cannot touch. Accounts in places you have never heard of. What places? Offshore. International. You think I am stupid enough to keep it where you can get to it? I let the silence hang. Let him enjoy his perceived victory. And if I do not agree to this deal? I asked. Kevin's expression hardened. Then I make your life hell. I fight for custody. I drag this out for years. I tell everyone you are an unfit mother, mentally unstable. I will bury you in legal fees until you have nothing left. He leaned closer. I have been planning this for months, Destiny. You think you caught me off guard? I knew this day was coming. I have moved money, created backup plans. My mother has resources you cannot imagine. His voice dropped to a whisper. By the time I am done with you, you will wish you had never met me. I looked at him. This man I had married. This man I had trusted. This man who was threatening to destroy me while I sat there recording every word. Is that what you want? I asked quietly. A war. He smiled. That cruel, confident smile. I want what I deserve. And if you will not give it to me, I will take it. I reached for my purse. Slowly, deliberately. Kevin, I said, there is something you should know. What? This entire conversation has been recorded. Everything you just said about the offshore accounts. About hiding money. About planning this for months. About threatening me. His face went white. I reached under my shirt and touched the wire. A private investigator has been listening to every word, and every word is now evidence in our divorce case. Kevin stood up so fast his chair crashed to the floor. You set me up! You crazy bitch, you set me up! No, I said, standing up to face him. You set yourself up. I just gave you the rope to hang yourself with. He lunged toward me, but before he could take 2 steps, 2 large men appeared at either side of him. The PI's security team positioned nearby in case things went wrong. I would not do that if I were you, one of them said calmly. There are witnesses, cameras, and about 6 ways this ends with you in handcuffs. Kevin looked around wildly. Other diners were staring. Staff was watching. He had nowhere to go. I stepped closer to him, close enough to see the fear in his eyes. You thought you were so smart, I said. Thought you had everything figured out, but you forgot something, Kevin. You forgot who you were dealing with. I picked up my purse. I am not the woman you married anymore. I am not the woman you could manipulate. I am not the woman who would let you take everything from her without a fight. I am the woman who is going to take everything from you. I walked out of that restaurant with my head held high. Behind me, I could hear Kevin screaming, threatening, panicking. But his words meant nothing now. I had the recording, I had the evidence, I had the truth. And in 2 weeks, I was going to have my day in court. Kevin Carter was about to find out what happens when you underestimate the wrong woman. The day of the hearing arrived on a cold Tuesday morning 6 weeks after Hope was born. I woke up at 5 o'clock, even though I did not need to be at the courthouse until 9. I could not sleep. My mind was racing through everything that could go wrong, everything that could go right. Mama was already awake, sitting in the kitchen with a cup of coffee. She had been staying with me since Hope was born, helping with the baby, helping with life, being the rock I needed when everything else was crumbling. You ready? She asked when I walked in. I do not know, I admitted. I have never done anything like this before. She stood up and took my hands in hers. Let me tell you something, baby. I watched your father walk out on us when you were 5 years old. I watched him take everything he could carry and leave us with nothing. I spent years being angry, being scared, being broken, Her eyes were fierce, but I survived. I raised you by myself. I built a life from nothing. And you know what I learned? The only person who can destroy you is yourself. Kevin cannot break you unless you let him. She squeezed my hands. You are not going to let him. You are going to walk into that courtroom with your head held high. You are going to look that man in the eye, and you are going to take back everything he tried to steal from you. I hugged her tight, breathed in the scent of her perfume, the same perfume she had worn my whole life, the smell of safety, of home. Thank you, Mama, for everything. Now go get dressed, she said, wiping tears from her eyes. You have a man to destroy. I wore a navy blue dress, professional, modest, the kind of outfit that says, I am a serious woman who should be taken seriously. I did my hair neat and natural, minimal makeup. I wanted the judge to see me, the real me, not some performance. Mimi picked me up at 8. She was wearing a sharp pantsuit and had the look of a woman ready for battle. How are you feeling? She asked as I got in the car. Terrified, I admitted, but ready. Good. That is exactly how you should feel. We picked up Vanessa on the way. She was waiting outside her apartment building looking small and scared, 5 months pregnant and completely alone. When she got in the car, she looked at me nervously. Thank you for letting me come, she said quietly. I know you did not have to. You are a witness, I said. Monique needs you there. But it was more than that. Vanessa and I would never be friends. What she did was unforgivable. But we were connected now, whether we liked it or not. Our children would be siblings, and we had both been destroyed by the same man. The courthouse was an imposing building downtown, all marble and columns and the weight of history. I had never been inside before, never had a reason to. Monique was waiting for us in the lobby. She was dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit, her locks pulled back in an elegant updo. She looked like a warrior queen ready for battle. How are you feeling? She asked, pulling me aside. Nervous, I admitted. Good. Use that energy. Channel it into focus. She handed me a folder. Here is what is going to happen. Kevin's lawyer is going to try to paint you as the bad guy, the vindictive wife who is trying to destroy her poor innocent husband. Do not react. Do not get emotional. Just tell the truth. What if the judge does not believe me? The judge will believe the evidence, Monique said firmly. And we have plenty of that. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood-paneled walls, hard wooden benches, an American flag hanging behind the judge's bench. It felt like a place where lives were decided, because it was. I sat at the plaintiff's table with Monique. Mimi sat in the gallery behind me. Mama was at home with Hope, but she had promised to be praying every minute. Then Kevin walked in. He looked different, thinner, tired. The confident swagger was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like desperation. His mother Patricia was with him, dripping in jewelry and attitude. She looked at me like I was something she had scraped off her shoe. Their lawyer was a sleek-looking man in an expensive suit. The kind of lawyer who charged $500 an hour and made sure you knew it. All rise, the bailiff announced. The Honorable Judge Patricia Coleman presiding. The judge was a black woman in her 60s with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen everything. She sat down and surveyed the courtroom with the weariness of someone who had witnessed 1,000 broken marriages. We are here today for the matter of Carter versus Carter, she said. Petition for divorce, custody, child support, and division of assets. Is the plaintiff ready? Yes, Your Honor, Monique said, standing. Is the defendant ready? Yes, Your Honor, Kevin's lawyer replied. Then let us begin. Kevin's lawyer went first. He painted a picture of a devoted husband who had been emotionally neglected by his workaholic wife. A man who sought comfort elsewhere because his wife was never home. A victim of circumstances beyond his control. It was a masterpiece of lies. Every word twisted the truth into something unrecognizable. When he finished, Judge Coleman turned to Monique. Your opening statement, counselor. Monique stood slowly, deliberately. She buttoned her jacket and walked toward the judge's bench. Your Honor, she began, what you are about to see is not a story of a devoted husband. It is a story of a con man, a man who married my client for her money, her stability, and her willingness to carry the entire household. A man who systematically stole from her, lied to her, and abandoned her at the most vulnerable moment of her life. She paused for effect. The evidence will show that Mr. Carter was secretly unemployed for 8 months while pretending to go to work every day. The evidence will show that he stole over $30,000 from their joint savings and hid it in offshore accounts. The evidence will show that he maintained a secret relationship with another woman, impregnating her while his wife was also pregnant. She turned to look at Kevin. And most damning of all, the evidence will show that on the night my client went into labor with their child, Mr. Carter was 60 miles away in a luxury hotel with his mistress. He ignored 12 phone calls from his laboring wife. He chose champagne and vacation over the birth of his daughter. Judge Coleman's expression hardened. "We are not here to divide assets equally," Monique continued. "We are here to protect a mother and child from a man who has demonstrated repeatedly that he cannot be trusted. We are here for justice." She returned to her seat. The evidence phase was brutal. Monique presented bank statements showing the missing money, employment records proving Kevin's secret unemployment, credit card statements documenting his spending on Vanessa, screenshots of their text messages, photos from Vanessa's Instagram. Each piece of evidence was a nail in Kevin's coffin. Then she played the recording from the restaurant. Kevin's voice filled the courtroom, arrogant, threatening, admitting to everything. "That money is gone. You will never find it. It is in accounts you cannot touch, accounts in places you have never heard of. I have been planning this for months. You think you caught me off guard? By the time I am done with you, you will wish you had never met me." Judge Coleman's face was stone as she listened, but I saw her jaw tighten, saw her hands grip the edge of her bench. When the recording ended, the courtroom was silent. Then Vanessa took the stand. She was trembling as she was sworn in. Her pregnant belly was visible under her dress. She looked small, scared, broken, but her voice was steady as she told her story. "He told me they were divorced," she said. "He told me she was his crazy ex-wife who would not let him go. He told me he loved me, that we would be together, that we would have a family." She wiped tears from her eyes. "I did not know she was pregnant. I did not know they were still married. I did not know any of it until after she gave birth. When I found out the truth, I confronted him, and he left me too." Monique showed the text messages between Kevin and Patricia, the plans to hide money, the conspiracy to flee the country, the threats against me. Vanessa confirmed every word. When she finished, Kevin's lawyer tried to discredit her, called her a scorned woman with an axe to grind, a liar looking for revenge. But the evidence was too strong. The text messages were too clear. There was nothing he could say to explain them away. Then it was my turn. I took the stand with shaking hands but a steady voice. I told the judge everything. The years of supporting Kevin, the discovery of his lies, the abandonment during labor, the threats in the hospital. I did not cry. I did not beg. I just told the truth. Mrs. Carter, Monique asked, "What do you want from this court?" I looked at Kevin, really looked at him. This man I had loved, this man I had trusted, this man who had tried to destroy me. "I want my house," I said, "the house I paid for with my grandmother's inheritance, the house I have maintained with my income for 6 years. I want full custody of my daughter. She deserves a mother who will always be there for her, not a father who abandoned her before she was even born. I want child support. He helped create this child. He should help support her. And I want him to pay back every dollar he stole from me, every dollar he spent on hotels and jewelry and vacations while I was working 12-hour shifts to keep our family afloat." I looked at the judge. "I am not asking for revenge, Your Honor. I am asking for what is right, for what is fair, for what I earned and what he tried to steal." Judge Coleman nodded slowly. "Thank you, Mrs. Carter. You may step down." The judge called a 30-minute recess before delivering her ruling, the longest 30 minutes of my life. I sat in the hallway with Mimi and Vanessa, none of us speaking. There was nothing left to say. We had done everything we could. Now it was in the judge's hands. Kevin paced back and forth at the other end of the hallway. His mother was on her phone, probably calling her other lawyers looking for some last-minute miracle. There would be no miracle for them. When we were called back into the courtroom, my heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear. I gripped Mimi's hand as we took our seats. Judge Coleman entered and sat down heavily. She looked tired, the kind of tired that comes from seeing too much human cruelty. She opened a folder and began to read. In the matter of Carter versus Carter, I have reviewed all evidence presented by both parties. I have heard testimony from the plaintiff from witnesses, and I have considered the arguments of counsel. She looked up at Kevin. Mr. Carter, I have been a judge for 23 years. I have seen a lot of divorce cases, a lot of broken marriages, a lot of lies and betrayal. Her voice hardened. But I have rarely seen anything as calculated and cruel as what you have done. Kevin's lawyer started to object, but the judge silenced him with a look. You married a woman who loved you, who trusted you, who supported you financially for 6 years while you contributed virtually nothing. And how did you repay that love and trust? She held up a document. You secretly lost your job and lied about it for 8 months. You stole over $30,000 from your joint savings. You maintained a secret relationship with another woman, impregnating her while your wife was also pregnant with your child. She slammed the document down. And when your wife went into labor when she called you 12 times begging you to come to the hospital, you ignored her. You turned off your phone and spent the night drinking champagne with your mistress while your wife gave birth alone. Judge Coleman shook her head. That is not the behavior of a husband. That is not the behavior of a father. That is the behavior of a predator. She turned to me. Mrs. Carter, you have demonstrated remarkable strength throughout this process. You worked to support your family. You saved money for your child's future. You maintained your home and your dignity despite impossible circumstances. She picked up another document. Therefore, I am making the following rulings. My heart stopped. On the matter of the marital home, the evidence clearly shows that the down payment of $60,000 came from Mrs. Carter's inheritance. The evidence also shows that all mortgage payments for the past 8 months and the vast majority of payments before that came solely from Mrs. Carter's income. Mr. Carter contributed virtually nothing. She looked at Kevin. The house is awarded entirely to Mrs. Carter. Mr. Carter has no claim to the property. I heard Patricia gasp. Kevin's face went white. On the matter of marital assets, Mr. Carter systematically depleted joint savings accounts to fund his affair and secret lifestyle. This constitutes dissipation of marital assets, which is illegal under Georgia law. She consulted her notes. Mr. Carter is ordered to repay the full amount of $32,000 that he withdrew without his wife's knowledge or consent. This repayment is to begin immediately and continue until the full amount is recovered. Kevin's lawyer jumped up. Your Honor, my client does not have the means to repay that amount. Then he should have thought of that before he stole it, Judge Coleman snapped. He can liquidate assets, take out loans, or find employment. I do not care how he does it, but he will repay what he took, she continued. On the matter of child custody, Mr. Carter abandoned his wife during labor to vacation with his mistress. He has demonstrated no interest in his daughter beyond using her as leverage in these proceedings. She looked directly at Kevin. Full legal and physical custody of the minor child, Hope Carter, is awarded to the mother, Destiny Carter. Mr. Carter will have supervised visitation only at the discretion of the mother. I felt tears streaming down my face. Hope was mine. He could not take her. On the matter of child support, Mr. Carter may be currently unemployed, but he has demonstrated the ability to access significant funds. He has a mother with substantial resources who has been funding his lifestyle and legal fees. She wrote something on her notepad. Mr. Carter is ordered to pay child support in the amount of $2,000 per month beginning immediately. Failure to pay will result in wage garnishment, seizure of assets, and possible contempt charges. Kevin exploded. This is insane, he shouted, jumping to his feet. She is taking everything from me. I have rights. Mr. Carter, sit down, the judge ordered. No, this is not fair. I am the victim here. She set me up. 2 bailiffs moved toward him. You are out of order, the judge said coldly. One more outburst and I will hold you in contempt. This is garbage, Kevin was screaming now, completely out of control. You are all against me. My mother's lawyers will appeal this. You cannot do this. The bailiffs grabbed him by the arms. Mr. Carter, Judge Coleman said, her voice like ice. Based on your behavior in this courtroom and the evidence presented about your plans to flee the country, I am adding one more ruling." She looked at the bailiffs. "Your passport is hereby suspended. You are not to leave the state of Georgia without express permission from this court. Any attempt to flee will result in immediate arrest." Kevin was still screaming as they dragged him toward the door. "You will regret this." He was yelling at me now. "You think you have won? This is not over. I will make you pay for this." The judge banged her gavel. "Get him out of my courtroom." The door slammed shut behind him. The courtroom fell silent. Judge Coleman turned to me. Her expression softened slightly. "Mrs. Carter, I am sorry for what you have endured. No woman should have to experience what you experienced, but I want you to know that you handled yourself with grace and dignity throughout these proceedings." She gathered her papers. "You are awarded your divorce on grounds of adultery and abandonment. You are awarded your home. You are awarded custody of your daughter, and you are awarded the chance to rebuild your life without this man dragging you down." She stood. "Use this chance wisely. Build a good life for yourself and your daughter. That is the best revenge." She walked out. The bailiff called the court to adjourn, and just like that, it was over. I sat in my chair, unable to move, unable to process what had just happened. I had won. I had actually won. Mimi grabbed me from behind, hugging me so tight I could barely breathe. "You did it," she was crying. "You actually did it." Monique walked over, professional as always, but with a smile on her face. "Congratulations, Destiny. Justice was served today." Vanessa approached hesitantly. She was crying too. "I know I do not deserve your forgiveness," she said quietly. "But I am glad you won. He deserved everything he got." I looked at her. This woman who had caused me so much pain, who had been used and discarded just like I almost was. "Our children are going to be siblings," I said. "Whatever else happens that matters." She nodded, wiping her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, "for letting me be part of this." I walked out of that courthouse with my head held high. The sun was shining, the air was fresh. The world looked different somehow, brighter, full of possibility. I had walked in as a victim. I walked out as a victor. Kevin Carter thought he could break me. He thought he could take everything I had built and leave me with nothing. He was wrong. I kept my house, I kept my daughter, I kept my dignity, and he lost everything. I was sitting on the porch of my house watching the sunset with Hope sleeping peacefully in my arms. My house, my porch, my daughter, my life. So much had changed in 12 months. So much had healed. The house looked different now. I had repainted every room in colors I chose, replaced the furniture Kevin picked out with pieces that reflected who I actually am, planted a garden in the backyard where Hope could play when she got older. It felt like home for the first time. Let me tell you what happened to everyone after that day in court. Kevin moved back in with his mother, Patricia. He had no choice. The court had seized his hidden accounts, frozen his assets, and garnished any income he managed to earn. Every month, $2,000 was automatically deducted for child support. Another payment went toward the $32,000 he owed me. He tried to appeal the ruling. His mother hired expensive lawyers. They filed motion after motion, but the evidence was too strong. The appeals were denied every single time. Last I heard, Kevin was working at a call center, minimum wage, living in his mother's basement. The charming, successful man I married was gone. In his place was a broken, bitter shell who blamed everyone but himself for his failures. Patricia lost most of her money funding Kevin's legal battles. The offshore accounts they tried to hide were discovered and seized. The tax investigators got involved when they found evidence of fraud. She spent more on lawyers than she had left in savings. She still will not speak to me, still blames me for destroying her son. I am fine with that. Some people are not worth having in your life. Vanessa had her baby 3 months after Hope was born. A little boy she named Isaiah. Kevin wanted nothing to do with him, did not even show up at the hospital, did not sign the birth certificate, disappeared from her life completely. She struggled for a while, single mother with no support. But she found her footing. Got a real job instead of pretending to be an influencer. Moved into a small apartment she could actually afford. We are not friends. I do not think we ever will be. But our children are siblings. half-siblings who did not choose any of this mess, so we stay in contact, trade photos sometimes, let them know each other exists. Someday when they are old enough, we will explain the complicated truth of how they came to be. But for now, they are just two innocent babies who deserve love. Hope is the light of my life. She started walking at 11 months, has my eyes and my stubborn determination, laughs at everything, reaches for me whenever I enter the room. She will never know her father. Not really. Kevin has supervised visitation rights, but he rarely uses them. He showed up twice in the first 6 months, stayed for an hour each time, then disappeared again. I think seeing Hope reminds him of everything he lost, everything he threw away. That is his burden to carry, not mine. I went back to work after 4 months of maternity leave, got promoted to Director of Financial Planning 6 months later. Turns out, when you are not exhausted from carrying a dead-weight husband, you have a lot more energy for your career. My credit score is 812 now. I paid off the mortgage early with the money Kevin was forced to repay. The house is completely mine. No bank, no man, just me. Mama moved back to her own place after Hope turned 6 months old, but she comes over every Sunday for dinner. Watches Hope on date nights. Yes, date nights. I will get to that. Mimi and I take a trip together every year now, just the two of us. Last year we went to the Bahamas. This year we are planning Paris. We laugh about everything, process everything, remind each other how far we have come. And then there is Marcus. I met him 8 months after the divorce was finalized. Mama set us up, if you can believe it. He was the nephew of one of her church friends, a financial advisor with his own practice, divorced himself 3 years ago. No drama, just two people who grew apart. I was not looking for love. I told Mama that repeatedly. But Marcus was persistent, not in a pushy way, in a patient way. He asked me to coffee, just coffee, no pressure. I said no 5 times before I finally said yes. That first coffee date lasted 3 hours. We talked about everything, our failed marriages, our hopes for the future, our fears about trusting again. He did not try to fix me, did not try to save me, just listened, asked questions, made me laugh. We have been dating for 4 months now, taking it slow. So slow it drives Mimi crazy. But I learned my lesson. I will never rush into anything again. I will never ignore red flags because I want something to work. I will never lose myself in a man's expectations. Marcus knows this. He respects it. He says he is not going anywhere, that he will wait as long as it takes. We will see. I sit on this porch sometimes and think about everything I survived. The betrayal, the abandonment, the fear, the court battles, the sleepless nights with a newborn while fighting for my future. It was the hardest year of my life, but it was also the most important, because I learned who I really am. I am not the woman Kevin thought I was, not the doormat he could manipulate, not the ATM he could drain, not the fool he could deceive. I am a survivor, a fighter, a mother, a woman who refuses to be broken. People ask me sometimes if I hate Kevin, if I am still angry. The truth is, I do not feel much of anything about him anymore. He is not worth the energy. He is just a cautionary tale, a lesson I had to learn the hard way. What I feel now is gratitude. Gratitude that I found out the truth before he could take everything. Gratitude for the friends who stood by me. Gratitude for the lawyer who fought for me. Gratitude for my mother who believed in me. And most of all, gratitude for Hope. She is the reason I fought so hard, the reason I did not give up when everything seemed hopeless, the reason I keep pushing forward every single day. She will grow up knowing that her mother is strong, that women do not need men to complete them, that you can build a beautiful life from the ashes of destruction. That is the legacy I want to leave her. If you are watching this story and you see yourself in it, I need you to hear me. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your instincts. They are trying to protect you. And if you find out that the person you love has been lying to you, betraying you, stealing from you, know this. You can survive it. You can fight back. You can win. It will not be easy. It will be the hardest thing you have ever done. There will be days when you want to give up. Days when the pain feels unbearable. Days when you wonder if it is even worth fighting. keep fighting anyway. Because on the other side of that pain is freedom. On the other side of that betrayal is strength. On the other side of that breakdown is a breakthrough. I know because I lived it. The night before I gave birth, my husband left me for his mistress. He thought he was leaving me with nothing. But look at me now. I have my home. I have my career. I have my daughter. I have my peace. I have my joy. He has nothing, and I have everything. That is not revenge. That is justice. So if you are in a situation like mine, start making your plan. Document everything. Find a lawyer. Build your support system. Protect your money. Protect yourself. And when you are ready, fight like your life depends on it, because it does. I am Destiny Carter. I am 35 years old. I am a director of financial planning, a single mother, a survivor. And I am living proof that the worst night of your life can become the first night of your best life. You just have to be brave enough to fight for it. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for believing that women deserve better. Now it is your turn. Drop a comment below and tell me, what would you have done? Have you been through something similar? What gave you the strength to keep going? And if you know someone who needs to hear this story, share it with them. Sometimes the right words at the right time can save a life. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss stories like this. Stories of strength, stories of survival, stories of women who refuse to be defeated. We are all in this together. Stay strong, stay focused, stay fighting. And remember, the best revenge is not anger. It is success. Now go build yours.